I don't know the date. It's September 29th, 2020. All right, I'm only partially ready. Here we go. That needs to go there. That needs to go there. All right. How's it going, Commander? I think I had 2 conversations today that involved politics of one side or the other. I wonder if we actually eradicated the political discussion from our public discourse and private discourse, how much more productive we would all be. How much more stuff we would all actually get done. But maybe that's not the way a functioning republic should work. But there you go. We are here for Ask Me Anything. How about just eradicating the That's probably the best. Minimally there should be a shelf life. Even bean dip has a shelf life. These people should have some kind of shelf life. I don't know, 45 minutes, 2 hours, something. They just, if you've been in office for, I don't know what's a reasonable time, probably 10 years. Go get a job. Get out and go get a job. I don't know. I'm a very strong proponent of term limits for here in the States for senators, representatives, the president, probably even justices too. We're all watching this as our population ages on average. I think men are at 76 and women are 79. I can't remember something like that. But this is just going to keep going up, right? As healthcare and medicine and treatments and whatever increases, people are going to live longer. And that's just the way it is. Which means we're going to have these politicians when they're 112 years old sitting there in office. And honestly, I'm like 53 and I probably shouldn't be sitting in an office. My ability to learn new tasks is directly disproportional, is that the right word, to my age. And my desire to learn new tasks certainly drops. It's sort of like watching and I'm certainly, you'll have heads in jars. Yeah, no kidding, there you go. I'm certainly, as many of you know, I'm certainly no expert on any of these technological platforms. I had a run and fit on Facebook today, but watching the hearings with Zuckerberg and whoever the hell else was in them a few years back, I think under the Obama administration, it was really funny. I mean, it was just funny because it was clear that some of those senators had no idea how Facebook worked or Twitter worked or any of that. I only barely know how they work, so yeah, I don't know. It's it's interesting. Brave New World, is that what it is? Is that what we call it? Put them all in jars, just so we turn their microphones off. There you go. But we are. I'm 𝚃𝚘 Chenault. We are here for Ask Me Anything. I am CEO of Troll Lord Games, general manager, all that mess. I actually officially changed my title a few years ago from CEO to general manager. Because on all the damn government forms I got to fill out, it's just easier to write CEO as opposed to general manager. So I guess I could have gone with GM, and then it would work with GM's tricks of the trade. I could just talk about filling out, government paperwork, which I did a lot this morning, and I did yesterday. People would be surprised at how much paperwork small business owners have to mess with. I can't even imagine what it's like at the Walmart or Apple level. How much paperwork. Of course, they've got armies of accountants and all that crap. Armies of general managers that help manage all of that stuff. Good times. But yeah, we're here to talk about anything Troll Lord Kickstarter related, anything that we've put out, Dr. Pepper, anything that we're doing in the future, where we're going, where we've been, and who we've worked with, Gary Gygax, whoever, industry in general, whatever. Any questions you have, throw them up in the stream. I'll be more than happy to answer them if I can. Actually, only 1 day to go. What are we doing? What is this for? Oh, right. We got an Indiegogo campaign going on, I think we're struggling a little bit getting the word out on this campaign. It's something very new for us. Obviously, we're well entrenched in the whole Kickstarter world. Indiegogo is very new for us. My good friend Bill Webb over at Frog God Games has, for quite a while, talked to me about, you got to get over there. It's a great platform. So at the gate, we're doing okay. I'm not unhappy with it. Got a small adventure of the Horn Gods Winter. It's kind of a reprint of something that appeared in Rune Lore years ago, and it's out of print now. So definitely check it out. It's some classic Steve Overland adventure, episodic adventures that are very loosely strung together. Check it out, and if of interest, back it, and we'll get it to you pretty quick. Blood Wild. How's it going, Blood Wild? I'm falling behind. Any update on when backer kit for the CKG Kickstarter will go up? So what we've started to do on the Kickstarters, and I'm not... My logic for doing this breaks down under scrutiny. So what we started to do is charge, or to launch the backer kits about when the book goes to the printer. This way, we've kind of got more control of people's addresses, and if they move in the 3 months between, when we were doing it earlier and not, then chances of them remembering to update, some obscure backer kit thing becomes, it's just tough to remember all that stuff. So we kind of eradicate that by doing it sooner, and we don't charge credit cards now until we're just about ready to ship. Of course, we don't actually have to charge credit cards until the end, whether we started it today or while it was at the book's at the printer. So that logic kind of breaks apart. So at the end of the day, what that one's going to boil down to is I got to get book weights to Tim, and then he's got to enter all that information in, and we got to kind of set the backer kit up. I'm relatively certain what the Castle Keeper's Guide's going to weigh, so we can do the shipments on it. I don't think there were many stretch rewards that weren't improving the book itself, I think. So that one should be relatively easy. That said, my guess is a month, probably. We're going to get the Gaxmore thing assembled. That's going to print. Part of it's already gone to print today. The rest of it will go to print tomorrow. We're getting that assembled and that backer kit out early next week. And then the NPC Almanac, and then probably the CKG Kickstarter. So it won't be too long. But we'll definitely get it up and out and all of that information there. We probably should just go ahead and pull the trigger so that everybody can get in there and set their accounts up and move on. But you have my vote when you secede from here. There you go. That's what we need to do. Create Arid in Arkansas. Hi, Megan. I hope you are doing well. Little question. Why the heck do you use so much ink redefining the word illusionist instead of naming the class something else? Taking out the clarification of illusionist would make your book 3 ounces lighter. Yeah. Well, the illusionist, the ink that you're talking about comes from an extraordinarily long conversation that we had on lunch one day here at whatever printing that would have been. Is that fourth printing? I think that's the fourth printing or the second printing of the CKG. I really can't remember when we kind of ramped that up. So Mark Sandy, who he still works with us a little bit, he comes in now and again. He left us about a year ago. Great guy, longtime gamer, and he's been with the company for 10 years. So he's been in every part of the development of Castles and Crusades, Arid, and all that stuff. He ran the print shop for years. Great guy. But Mark's actually got a very... he's very calm, and he lives a very quiet life. He doesn't actually have... I'm pretty sure he doesn't have the internet at his house. He just has regular television with rabbit ears, and he gets the internet on his phone, of course, so he can read the news or whatever crap he's doing. But Mark spends a lot of his time just kind of pondering these things. He doesn't really like to write that much, but he loves game design. He loves kind of putting things together. His stamp is in many, many places. He likes mechanics most of all. He likes to know how things actually work. He's the author of Expanding Classes. He's the one who developed the multi-classing rules and the class and a half rules for Castles and Crusades, which you'll see in the back of the Player's Handbook. So Mark, he and in Expanding Classes, of course, he took every combination of class that you can have and put them together in their various multi-classing, guises. Is that the word I'm looking for? But so he and I were sitting there one day. I can't remember if Todd was in on the conversation. I think it was just me and Mark. And Mark started talking about the Illusionist, and he had he knows I'm a huge fan. My favorite comic book character is Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. Love the character, love the concept behind it. Fearless, all of that stuff. And when Mark and I got to talking about Green Lantern and the ring and the things that he can make out of the ring, and now you see Heathen Dog. My explanation is going to be as long as much ink was spilled in the player's handbook. He started talking about the whole thing, and he said that's really an illusionist's power, right? He's not really creating this fist with his ring; it's an illusion. And then we got into this long discussion about illusions, and I hadn't really ever given illusionists much thought. I think the most I've ever touched bases with illusionists is, outside of Dungeons and Dragons or Castles and Crusades is who is it? Piers Anthony and Door. I don't know. One of the main characters in the Piers Anthony Xanth series is an illusionist. I can't remember now who it was. So I didn't have much thought on it, and he developed this entire kind of 3 levels, 3 types of illusions, and I thought, this is just awesome. This is actually an imaginative mechanic that he's put on the illusionist, making the class far more in depth than it is, with a mechanic that it's not really a mechanic, but something of a mechanic that drives it. So you see that written up ad nauseum in the Castle Keeper's Guide, and then briefly introduced in the Player's Handbook. I actually had to fix some of the Player's Handbook for the 8th printing. I noticed the other day it actually referred to stuff that's only in the CKG. But that is why that we expanded the Illusionist into this gigantic 3-page or 2-page discussion, and it's fascinating. And to me, it's really kind of cool. I really like Mark's whole approach to it, because it it gave depth to a class that I never really thought much of, and it gave a reality to the illusions and made them more. And that actually, from that is what arose the illusionist heal spells. His ability to create such a powerful illusionist that you heal yourself. Your own mind heals the wound that's in your flesh. I thought that was just awesome. It breaks with the kind of whole magic approach to healing and makes it psychosomatic. Is that the word? The sword's the placebo? I don't know. I'm just rattling off half words that I understand from reading medical crap that I don't really understand. But that's why the Illusionist has so much ink written on it. There's the long story of the Illusionist. Going to try and watch part 3. What did I miss him? Hey, Heathen Dog, I watched part 2 of your videos today. 2 hours. Ow. Going to watch part 3. Peter's my first time reading it. Wanted to be sure. Very cool. I think you guys went a little too deep on discussing race minutiae, though. I was waiting to hear your thoughts on Magic and God Blue Bolt. Oh, that was to Heathen, not to me. Grape Ape. All right, hey, I said it right the first time. That's amazing. All right, I have been saving this question for a couple of days now. Hold on. So kind of like Doctor Strange. Yeah, absolutely. I guarantee you Doctor Strange came up in that conversation too, because Mark is actually a Marvel fan. I'm kind of a DC guy. He's kind of a Marvel fan. And he loves Doctor Strange. And who's the... actually, no, I'm sorry. I got to take that back. Martian Manhunter is Mark's favorite character. So he's kind of a DC guy too. But yeah, like Doctor Strange. And the movie's a perfect example of that, because the magic of that movie was just awesome. I see. All right, I've been saving this question up for a couple of days now. When you are doing art direction for a module, how do you determine how much art to use, where it goes, what size it will be? Like, do you go for 1 per page, 1 per area? What are the determining factors for art selection and use? I try to spread it out. So we used to have 1 picture for every 4 pages, I think. 1 picture or a map, because I wanted something really just to break up the Castle Keeper's reading, so that it's just not wall-to-wall text. And that includes a map. So you might have a picture in the first 4 pages. I think it was the first 2 pages. That can't be right. Anyways, first 4 pages. And then a map, the next 4, and then another picture. In the early days, we actually signed a contract with one of our printers, Still Walsworth, actually at the time, that they gave us this huge price break if everything was 24 pages. That allowed them to do easy setup, and the paper count was correct, and so we kind of geared everything to that. So if you look at the early stuff, it was like every 4 pages, or maybe it was 6 pages, I can't remember. And I expanded it later. I kicked that out later as we were doing more hardcovers, and those required more and more art to go into them. The modules were becoming kind of a distraction to the artists, because we were having to do all these little pictures for these tiny books that sometimes would sell well, sometimes would not sell well. So I stopped with the module art, and I broke it up to about I think it's 1 to 8, one for every 8 pages now is what I want. And then the evolution went even beyond that, because like I just told Peter the other day, in the player's handbook, the 8th printing, I don't want any art in the spell section. That spell section is a dictionary. It's a dictionary of information, and I don't want any art in it, anything distracting. The reader needs to go to, the magic missile, read it, and move on. He doesn't need to be distracted by art or any of that. So that's actually playing into it now, subject-wise. Take Codex Egyptium. We needed tons and tons of art for those gods. There were so many gods in that book, but we couldn't do them all because it was like 120 gods. I don't know, it's like 90 gods. It's a huge number of gods. But so I had Zoe do up pantheons, and then Peter went in and he drew a bunch, whatever he liked, whatever the layout called for. So if a half column page, and he had to move other content to the next page, he would drop a picture and put it in there. So it's got a little bit. Sometimes it gets a little bit fluid depending on the book and depending on the content of the book. But on the average, I want some type of piece of art now for every 8 pages in an adventure. At 6 pages, I'm fine with. We reuse art quite a bit. Some of this stuff, and these guys pour their hearts and souls into, and it goes out in an adventure, and that adventure sells, 400 copies, and then it goes away, and then that art's lost. And so I hate that. I absolutely hate it. So I'm constantly culling art from older stuff and kind of switching it out and putting it in. Move art around quite a bit. I think that bothered people in the old days. These days, no one seems to mind. So I hope that answered your question there. Great bait. About 1 every 6 to 8 pages is what we do now. Hardcover is a little bit different. It's the content. It is great, and I said on stream that after reading the description of the Illusionist, why would anyone play any other arcane class except for calling it an Illusionist? It hurt my brain calling it an Illusionist. We stick with the Illusionist primarily because the same reason we stick with the Assassin and the Monk. Those are classes I don't care for. But we're not going to change any of this, because when we started this, I told everyone, when we started CNC, not TLG, but when we started CNC, I told everyone that we're not going to change the core of this game. So if you're playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or if you're playing Basic Dungeons and Dragons, or if you're playing Dungeons, whatever, Dungeons obviously version, you're going to be familiar, you're going to feel at home. And very, very specifically, Gary Gygax, when we were doing Castle Zagig, he needed something that could tool into AD&D just flawlessly. So all the classes, it became, that's the thing, we're going to do the classes from the AD&D game. They're going into the CNC, and they're not going to change. So changing the name of the Illusionist, I just had this discussion literally with Peter Bradley a few days ago. He's drawing the Monk for the Player's Handbook 8th printing, and he was going to do the whole Chinese or Korean, I'm not sure which ethnicity he had picked, or nationality he had picked, whatever. And I told him, no, I want to break that stereotype with that, because the name is bad enough. The name is already making everyone think you've got to play a kung fu master, and you should be able to play, if you're a monk, you should be a pugilist or a drunken fighter. I don't care. So his comment was, change the name. Just change the name to something else. And we're not going to change the name for the very reason that I told the early customers, the early backers and the people who picked up the Player's Handbook. So long as I'm sitting in the chair, we're not going to change it. We'll do edits, we'll clean stuff up, we'll fix stuff that doesn't work, like I think you mentioned last week, the fascist humans, I think you mentioned. We'll clean things. I don't mind doing that, but the core of the game's got to change, stay the way it is. We'll have lots of cool art in the Adventure Spellbook, though, right? No. So I haven't actually broached that with Peter Bradley yet. We're actually just dove into. We finished Gaxmore. Commander knows this. We finished Gaxmore literally yesterday, and I'm loading it up today. I think I actually put in the final edits this morning. So I just got the chance to talk to Peter about Starship Warden today. And he's got all these ideas. He's been sitting on stuff he's been working on behind the scenes, waiting for me to say, okay, here we are. And so we got all of that. We're in the midst of that. So I haven't actually plunged into the art on the spell book, but at the moment, I really want it to be I want it to be art light. I don't want to put a lot of art in there. I want it to be spells there was a book that came out 1,000 years ago called The Great Net Spellbook or something, and I kind of want it to be like that. It's just spells. Rune spells, illusionist spells, divine arcane, whatever. So we may do some full pieces in there. I'm not sure. We'll see how that pans out. But I'm really wanting it to be text. But I got to tell you, This is a failing of mine. Still my favorite printing of the Player's Handbook is the first printing. Even I know it's got some editing issues, but it's wall-to-wall text. There's very little art in it. I do an awful lot of reading. I read a lot of history books, and there's no pictures in my books ever. So I'm very comfortable at home without art. The only time I need an art is map when they're describing whatever battle. I want to know where the phalanx was or who turned whatever left flank. Where Little Round Top was, whatever it is. But, so I'm not a huge fan of art, so I have to kind of fight my natural inclinations just to not put any art in the book. And Tim doesn't help because Tim, who many of you know is our communications director, Tim doesn't care for art either. So he's like, why are you putting any art in there? So at the moment, right now, I haven't talked to Peter Bradley. Obviously, Peter is an artist. He's going to want to put a lot of art in there. He was not amused at all when I told him I wanted to remove all the art from the spell section. That did not sit well with Peter. But he and I work very well together, so we'll iron it out. So we're both semi-happy with it. So that's just the way that goes. I just saw the Metamorphosis Alpha update. Great artwork, looks great. What you saw, Ultra Magnus, and I need to put it over here. That's actually the cover. It's not finished. That is... All right, I got to remember how to do this. I got to do it over here. That is the cover for the Adventurer's Spell Book. So that's going to be ABS. Is that? No, it's IBS. It's Irritable Bowel Syndrome. We don't need any of that. All right, hold on. I'll get this up. If I can find it. It's going to be huge. I'm going to have to adjust it. It's going to be there, and there she blows. And Peter's going to hit me if he knows I put this up. So that, come on down. That is the cover for the Adventure Spellbook. Now, like I said, I'm relatively certain the gargoyles he needs to finish, and there's some stuff that he needs to put in there, but it's going to be beautiful. Absolutely, absolutely stoked about that picture. And clearly Peter's into a 70s rock thing, the guy with his bell bottoms, which is okay. I love bell bottoms when they came out. Wore them all the time. I got my new Codex Sectorum yesterday. Haven't had a chance to read it properly yet. It looks lovely. Well done. Thank you, Mr. Obadiah. I love that book. Absolutely love it. Brian did a fantastic job on that and the Egypt book, and there's a lot of great art in that stuff. I hope you enjoy it when you dive into it. How about an adventure spellbook that looks like a real spellbook? We thought about that, Vic Danger, and what we may end up doing on that is, we do the leather copies every time we do these books. So, there's a good chance the leather copy will kind of look like that. But the thing about what you would want, I suspect, and what I would want, if it looks like a spellbook, it's got to be smaller. It's got to be not quite digest size, but 8.5 by 5 by 5 would probably be a cool spellbook. And we'll look into it. Right now, we've got it in my head. That's going to be a soft cover book, just so that we can do all of that. We'll work with it very easy, but we'll see how the Kickstarter goes. We're combining that book with the Player's Handbook 8th printing. And some other interesting stuff that we're goobly-gooping around. Some ideas Davis had. Who is this art guy and why do so many people hate him? Which art guy are you talking about? I don't think anyone hates Peter Bradley, but lots of art. Our covers have been Peter Bradley since, Jason Walton does quite a few of our covers, but forever and a day. Ever and a day. Let's see. All right, yeah. So real quick, everybody, if you haven't, please give us a follow. We sure appreciate it, and spread the word about that TLG Twitch channel. I'm here every Tuesday at 4 and Thursday at 4, and we'll be gaming some this weekend. And of course, we got miniature painting on Wednesday. So definitely give us a follow if you could. We sure appreciate it. It's an interesting alternate take on the mage, handing a beat down with the power of funk. Yeah, there you go. I'm not sure what's got into Peter Bradley's head lately, but there's been a lot of bell bottoms on on his magi. Now, part of it though, we had this discussion the other day. I told him, I said, and it's going forward as we're doing the art for the character classes in the Player's Handbook. I really want these guys to look like adventurers. Peter excels at equipment. He's really good at it. He's good at people, but he's great at equipment. And I want these people to look like adventurers. And he said that he literally, within a second, he said, the first thing you got to lose is all these cloaks and long Gandalf-like clothing, because no one's going to go into a briar patch wearing that stuff. And I was like, he's right. at the end of the day, Gandalf would be hung on every snag in the Darkenfold or whatever, what Merc would, because his cloaks are always flying all over the place. He probably should have just put some pants on and a coat. But but there you go. Spellcasting at the disco. Fireball renamed, Disco Inferno. Excellent. Panic at the Disco. Beautiful. I shouldn't have mentioned his bell bottoms. I see where we're going now. It's a beautiful picture, though. I love the color in that picture, and I love the rune magic that he's got around his thing. Let's see. Saw something on Facebook about looking for players. Discord the place to go. Sidewinder. Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely head over to Discord. All kinds of conversations going over there. So many I can't keep up with half of them. My brain gets overloaded. I was in one of Steve's Gen Con games a few years ago. Loads of fun, even with 20 players. Yes, those things get insanely chaotic. I'm glad you had fun, Iron Jack. Those things get absolutely insanely chaotic. I'm not quite ready to do a 20-person game online. I've done just a couple 6- and 8-person games. We got one coming up in a couple weeks. Not quite there for 20 people. Gandalf and Levi. There you go. Bell bottoms kind of are traditional for the Navy who were on ships, right? Yeah. But now when I was a kid, so in the 70s, I'm not sure when bell bottoms hit. I know by the late 70s, everyone was in them. And I insisted when I bought my bell bottoms, or my mother bought them. I didn't have a job. So, yeah, I didn't. My first job was at 13, I think. When I put my bell bottoms on, I had to be able to crouch just a little bit, and the bell of your jeans had to completely cover my shoe from the back to the toe, completely. No shoe could be seen. Those were the only acceptable bell bottoms. I love those things. Looking back, I don't think I would wear them again, but but bell bottoms are pretty cool. Must have been Elementalist. He's familiar with Earth, Wind, and Fire. There you go. Yeah, now that's one of the things that I've noticed in Peter Bradley's art over the past 10 years. He has become a huge, since I've known him, we met in 05, I think. Since I've known him, 04. Excuse me. Oh, shit, here's that dog. Dr. Pepper time. Since I've known him, he has become a huge anime fan. He loves anime. He's always sending me anime shows to watch. And anime's okay. I don't have anything against anime. If it's your choice of entertainment, great. But I can't quite get into it. And I'm not sure why. I've watched quite a bit, but I just haven't ever been able to get into anime. But I've noticed that there has been there's been a slow infiltration of TLG art with an anime style, elongated people, stuff like that, jumping, moving. It's kind of cool. I have to curb it some because I'm kind of a more traditional. I don't even know who's my favorite. Is it Parkinson? I think Parkinson's my favorite. I like lots of detail and realism, even in fantastical creatures. I love realism. My favorite artist is probably Michael Whelan from the 70s and 80s. He did a lot of the Barsoom books that you've probably seen. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see. I went on to Discord recently looking to get a break from CKing and ended up finding more people to play, and I am now CKing another group. I'm not complaining though. Yeah, that didn't quite work how you wanted it to. Didn't Mr. Obadiah. Yeah, every time I'll give up the chair in my Thursday game, and Chris or Matt take over, or Todd does, and they don't ever want a game more than 3 or 4 times. Then I'm back in the chair, which is okay. Thank you for your service, Mr. O. There you go. Got distracted. Hey, how's it going, 42? Hey, M5. Oh, yeah, the Elric covers. I forgot. Whelan did that Elric piece, the green one, where he's holding up the blade. That's probably one of the most evocative pieces of fantasy art I've ever seen. But now Whelan, of course, is more... I don't even know how to describe it. The colors are astounding. They're central figures, but like if you look at the other type of art I like, and I think it's Parkinson I like so much, where there's so much detail when you're looking at it. Every time you look at the painting, there's more of it. You see something new each time. I absolutely love that type of art. And Peter is actually, he excels at that. He really does. When I give him lots of time. When I give him lots of time to do stuff, I don't ever give him time. Hey everyone, just a reminder that we appreciate you all hanging out. I wasn't supposed to read that. But there you go. I'm trying to find some of these. There's another guy. He wasn't a D&D artist that, of course it comes up Parkinson disease. I don't think. Is his name not Parkinson? What is it? There was another artist. He did a lot of fantasy novels. I cannot remember his name. Really good stuff, though. I think he did the... Shit, I can't remember. Who's the guy with white gold? Who's the stories from the... Keith Parkinson, yes. Caldwell, Elmore, Fabian, maybe Fabian. So, Keith... Damn it. What are the stories that came out in the 70s and 80s that the crux... I believe the guy is... He lives in the modern day world and he gets thrown in a fantasy environment. But Parkinson... White gold is the thing that's like magical or something. Oh man, I got tons of these in the shelf in there if I took... Oh wait, here's one right. Okay, so... This guy, this might actually be Parkinson. I'm fixing to try to post this. Let's do that. And I'm going to do an image, don't I? Bear with me just a second. I'll just do that. Who cares? That. Desktop. This guy here. So, who is this guy? I think this is who I'm thinking about. Who did that? But there was a lot of art in this kind of vein that's very detailed. It's very... it's detailed and it's got a lot of things going on in it. Stuff that you can keep going back to. Of course, there's Frazetta and Boris and all these guys. But that's kind of who I'm thinking of. Anyways, I'm not sure who did the art in that, but fantastic type of stuff. And that's when I give Peter enough time, he actually will put all of those details in it. And that's what I'm hoping to see when we finalize the adventure spell book, that's where that ends up. Yes, Thomas Covenant. Absolutely. You got it. You win, M5. You win. Thomas Covenant was really... You know, the literature back in those days was very different. Catherine Kurtz is one of them that comes up. Stephen Donaldson, Thomas Covenant, all these... The character's Thomas Covenant. But the writing, the fantasy stories are very slow and very detailed and very... the action isn't often. So when you get action, I mean, you're ready for it. You know what I mean? It's a very different type of... that's who it is. It's Hildebrand. A very different type of fantasy than we get now. I mean, I think that the attempts to kind of mimic... It's Hildebrand. That's what I'm thinking of. To mimic Tolkien, and then... Yeah, absolutely. So it's Hildebrand. I love Hildebrand stuff. It's just... There's just so much going on in his pieces. Just good stuff. Just good art. And that's kind of what I like. I just want to constantly revisit stuff. But it looks like Angus McBride. I'm not sure who that is. I'm sure I've got like 600 odd fantasy novels in there. I'm sure that I have some of his. Oh yeah. Oh, that stuff's beautiful. See that too. There's a fucking beautiful piece. Holy, that's McBride. Gee, many Christmas. So this, wow. I would have to put this above the Hildebrand. Let me get this guy up here. Blah, blah, blah. Say image 3, good deal. This is just an absolutely, is that it? Extraordinary piece right there. That's just crazy beautiful. That's I believe with the little tag on the internet said that's an Angus McBride. Just great stuff. I love stuff that when I look at it, I feel as if I'm right there, and it's the detail and everything is there. Old books reference Peter 20. Yeah, that's a story. So can I tell that story? I'm not sure. It involves... I'm not sure I can tell that story. Let me ask Tim if I can tell... That might have to be a Troll Lord Ask Me Anything After Hours. Okay, so Tim has given me the heads up. So he's given me the go ahead. So when we began this company, we were a little bit younger in those days, and a lot of the TLG earnings went to various and sundry activities, and we did a little gambling, but we went to a lot of strip clubs. And Peter Bradley, he would go with us occasionally when he was around and able to do it. And so I remember we were actually at Gen Con, I believe. Can't remember the name of the club. Great club. Everyone's super friendly. And, of course, we always kind of got a rule when we go to such a club that you don't go. You're not stingy. You're just spending money, and we spend a lot of money, and most of it from our till from the sales at the day that whatever day it was, probably Friday or Saturday. And anyway, so Peter was with us, and he came up quite. Hey, Steve, I need $20. I need $20 right now, and I didn't have it. I'd already spent all mine. Davis didn't have it. He was spending all his. So I think it was Todd. I can't remember. One of us ended up giving Peter $20, and he vanished again. So it became his iconic name, Peter $20 Bradley. So it was just that's how that stuck. I know that's not so PC anymore, but that's the way it was in the wild early days of Troll Lord games. But yeah, that's where that. I don't remember. He never asked me to quit putting it in there, but I finally did stop. I finally stopped putting that in there. Good old yeah. So if you have an older book with Peter's name and it's going to say Peter $20 Bradley in there. Yeah, well there it is, Commander Pete. Now you know. Yes, let's see. Good kind of Peace Blood Wild. Yeah, that thing is just. Only on owner of him is Lord South Charge. Oh, interesting. I'll have to check that out. In the PHB V8 Kickstarter, will there be an option to purchase the 3 core books with new art? PHB, M&T, and Adventures Backpack. Yes. Though now the Adventures Backpack will be the one that's out now, and of course, and the M&T will be the one that's out now. So we're gonna. Tim and I are always torn when we lay these things out. We always want to keep them simple, to keep just a few pledge levels in there, so that they're just not so horribly complicated. One, for you guys when you're trying to figure out what you want to jump into, and two, for us to kind of manage it at the end. But at the end of the day, we absolutely have to have something in there that's kind of the core game to it. It'll be minus the CKG because we just did a Kickstarter on that. We'll have that in on as an add-on, and the CKG really should be done before the Player's Handbook. The thing about the Player's Handbook is it's done. We just got to put the art in and kind of relay it out. And the relay out doesn't take that long if in a book like this, because everything's kind of set. The margins are set, the footers are set, and all of that crap set. So it's a little bit easier. But yeah, so there'll definitely be some kind of pledge level in there for that. Steve, is there any thoughts about doing something with Star Siege? Yeah, absolutely. Jason Vey was talking about that just the other day. He has done a rewrite on it, and he removed all of the content that kind of broke with the Siege engine and replaced it with the Siege engine, so it's very compatible. And now it's a what to do with and when with this thing. It's going to come underneath Amazing Adventures. It'll be part of what we're basically going to be doing is publishing 2 game systems. Castles and Crusades, which is the fantasy genre, and Amazing Adventures, which is everything else. So Star Siege and Tainted Lands and all of these things will go underneath. Now Victorious will be its own category, and will go under Amazing Adventures. So Star Siege will be kind of tool for Amazing Adventures. So the Amazing Adventures book, if you've got that, you'll be good to go once you get the Star Siege stuff. Now the Star Siege, I told Jason I want at least 4 classes in it, so you don't have to have the Amazing Adventures book. And he's already got those done. It's really just, we worked on the setting. The setting will be kind of a Venus type thing. Solar system, we got some cool ideas to tie Star Siege into Erd and into the Rings of Brass and into Earth and into Amazing Adventures. All kinds of, we just got the whole bundle. And that's one of the things that he's working on. He and I have been trying to schedule a sit down for the past 2 weeks in order to get to kind of lay out his prioritize his list of things that he's working on, and that I had stuff go in the last few weeks that I had to take care of, so that didn't happen. So hopefully in the next week or so, I'll have to sit down with Jason and we'll get that ironed out, because that and Tainted Lands I want to see out. They're great games, they're great concepts. Tainted Lands has the Lollygag in it, which I absolutely love, and I want that back out. So we'll definitely a move on Tainted Lands and Star Sieges in the near future. Got to get through the Player's Handbook and the Adventure Spellbook, and there's something. Oh, and then the Planescapes. And see, that's kind of the nice thing about Star Siege. We can tie that into Planescapes as well, and Tainted Lands as well. For those of you familiar, the Tainted Lands is actually also placed in Erd. It's kind of a shadow kingdom on top of the world of Erd, if you want to play it that way. So we've kind of combined these things together. and now it's time to bring it home, I think. The Planescapes book will do that, and Tainted Lands and Starseeds will be part of that whole shebang. Oh yeah, Ultra Magnus. It's a huge amount of stuff. There's so much stuff that we're working on. And as much as I love the fact that the Player's Handbook sold out of print, or went out of print, and the CKG did, and it's great, sales are up, but it's aggravating because it derails us for yet another 6 weeks to get to stuff that we really want to do. And new stuff, because we can't not have the Player's Handbook, obviously. And I've been wanting to kind of retool it a little bit, and now's the opportunity, so we got to take another couple of weeks and tackle that. The good thing is we have more and more people working for us, so that's always good. Oh, and you need to make an appendix just for the assassin and monk and gnomes and half-orcs after that's starting to do it. It's its own chapter now. At the moment, the only thing going in the appendix is the assassin. The monk will probably stay in its spot. Assassin's out. We discussed that last week. I can't have the assassin at the front of the book. I just can't. It drives me absolutely bonkers. It looks like we had a deleted message. I guess someone. I missed that. All right, there you go. Let's see. Yeah, the list is just going to get longer and longer. Okay, so someone got banned. There you go. He would make me. How far away is the PHP Kickstarter? As at the moment, and don't hold me to this, but at the moment, October 12th is the launch date for the Kickstarter. It's going to be a 30-day deal. We got a lot of cool things we got to kind of work out, and we're doing that now. I got some stuff that I want to kind of jump in there, but yeah, October 12th is the launch date for that. Well, so it was just a bot doing an ad that we had to ban. I was hoping it was someone doing some kind of crazy, crazy shit. But what can you do? Can't even get the crazies. At any rate, yeah, lots of stuff. Lots of stuff going on. As always, I'm very, very glad we've put the Lost City of Gaxmore to bed. I say that, I still got to do a little bit at the very tail end. That's why I uploaded the map and the cover, and now I got to get the tail end done. But that's done. Egypt is done, and the NPC Almanac is next on my list. Probably tomorrow, no later than Thursday, I'll be able to sit down and get all of the files that Davis has sent and start organizing those. We've got a lot of art files. We've got a lot of art to do. So we'll start getting that kind of compiled so I know exactly where we are on that. And as I said earlier, Starship Warden, Peter has jumped in too to take that to the next evolutionary step, which is a little bit of a redesign on the way it looks. And the CKG editing still, and I kind of want a second set of eyes on it. We're going to see how that goes. Tomorrow, as soon as I wrap up this with the Gaxmore, tomorrow I'll go over the first chapter of edits. Is that right? The first chapter's edits on the CKG and get that ready for either proofing or editing, deciding on what I want to do on that, and get that rolling again. Because I want to get that. I really want to get the Castle Keeper's Guide and the Player's Handbook wrapped up simultaneously, and I'd really like them to go to press at the same time. It'd be wonderful if we could send the NPC Almanac at the press too, and just get them all wrapped up. Yeah, M5, I'm super stoked on Gaxmore. Commander Pete, a bunch of these guys, Bloodwild, I believe that's you, got in there and did a lot of cleaning on it so that it's turned out 1,000 times better than it was. I even found a couple of things that needed fixed. We found some stat blocks that needed kind of converting. There was a problem with some of the maps that we fixed. Elisa got in there and put in street names on the maps. It's just, the book has turned out to be absolutely wonderful. The map's beautiful. I'm super stoked on the Lost City of Gaxmore. I'm also anxious to get Gaxmore, this newer version of Gaxmore, out in the Castles and Crusades universe as well. But I haven't broken that to Luke yet. I'm sure he's not going to care. I'm still on the fence on getting yet another RPG, but you guys have a compelling case. Sidewinder, we don't. I think you can download I'm pretty sure you can download something. I think you can download the rules from somewhere. I'm looking. Free downloads. So you can check it out, see if you like it. Yes, quick start. You got to scroll down this page a little bit. But you should be able to find it there. Check it out. It's really the thing about. I'm right there with you, Sidewinder. I cannot stand reading digital stuff. It drives me crazy. But, so there, he beat me to it. But it's a fun game, and it's very easy. And it's extraordinarily well supported. I mean, we've got, I don't know, 10 or 15 hardbacks out on it now, and we've got so much more coming in the next year. So it's worth at least having a gander at. Not I, though ironically I am a proofreader. Oh, okay, but well. But, well, apparently we need more, and apparently it's something we've known for a while. But as we're getting ahead of things, and we slowly are doing that, we'll be able to do a better editing, proofreading process before the layout, and then do it again after layout, because a lot of things happen in layout that just creep in. Right there with you, 𝚃𝚘𝚕𝚕. I could try it. You know, the thing I do like about PDFs, I'll say this. I don't like to read PDFs, but I do like the search functions, and I'll sometimes like, especially in books like the Codex of Error, if I can't find something that I know is in there, I wrote it, so I know it's in there, but I can't find it. It's nice to go to the PDF and do a word search. You can get right to it. Beyond that, I have a lot of trouble. Now we did this years ago. It's probably online somewhere, but to bypass the PDF experience, we only did this for Tim, we should do this for the Crusader magazine. We only did this for our catalog. But the catalog, you could go to the page where the catalog was, and there it was, the book. And then when you clicked it, there was a little the page is like folded over. You click it, and it would make that very distinctive page turning sound, as it turned the page. So you could be looking at your screen, and there would be 2 pages, and you could tap it, and it would turn the page. I really like that. I at least felt like I was reading a book. Clearly I wasn't. But my brain's small, and I fool myself very easily, so it was a really nice effect. No one seemed to give a crap. We never got any, feedback one way or the other. But I always thought it was kind of a cool way to do things. Couldn't mess with someone at a page, Terry. There you go. Oh, and then do the next page is actually torn. Like part of it's torn away. It's just blank or whatever. Oh, that would be awesome. Peter would eat up that. Peter loves practical jokes and puns, so he would probably jump right into that. Yeah, good old days. It's really funny how much stuff has evolved since we started this in 1999. I mean, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And we've only begun. There's so much more we want to do with this stuff. Video game development, all kinds of stuff that we've talked about. Little movies. Tim and I are fixing to resuscitate. Is that the right word? Resuscitate 𝚃𝚘𝚕𝚔 Productions. Talking about little things that we're going to shoot. We've got little videos that we got popping up. So lots of stuff going forward that I'm pretty excited about. But we got to get all these books in print first, so they quit not being here. At any rate, if anyone has any more questions, we've got a few more minutes here before we sign off. I got a big old hunk of roasted potatoes upstairs. I can smell everywhere, so I'm headed there very soon. The little video intros for the books on the YouTube are really nice. Yeah, we've got a lot of those coming. Tim, is there any way... I wish I could show you this video. So I asked the young lady, Ellis Golden, who's doing these videos for us. She's pretty good at editing and all that stuff. And I think she's getting a theater degree. I can't remember what she's doing, but... I asked her to do me some MTV type commercials for Castles and Crusades. So she whipped something up, and it's pretty cool. I've got it on the desktop here. I need to get it up on YouTube so people can enjoy it. She's the one who did the... where's that one, Tim? Tim, can you post, if you're still with us, I know your internet comes and goes, that one she did about Castles and Crusades with the ironic video. I absolutely love the ironic video. So sell me on Tainted. Yeah, she's having too much fun. Yeah, she's great at it. Dr. Pepper with cream soda making a good thing better, or it's an abomination. I can't say that, Vindishi. I haven't actually drank it yet, but I'm really, when it comes to Dr. Pepper, it is the 12-ounce can. It's the only way I drink Dr. Pepper. I don't drink it out of a glass. I don't drink it with ice. I don't drink it out of a bottle. I'll drink it out of a glass bottle, but not a plastic bottle. I'm kind of a purist. I don't eat jelly beans that are flavored. The only food stuff I eat with Dr. Pepper is my wife will do a pork tenderloin soaked in Dr. Pepper. It's pretty fucking good. So I have not tried the the cream soda and Dr. Pepper yet. Let's see, Mr. Obed, who asked about? Someone asked about Tainted Land. So let me give you a quick. Who asked that? Mr. Obadiah. So Tainted Lands was written by Jim Ward. And he wrote it with the Siege Engine in mind. It veers a little bit from the Siege Engine. When he wrote it, I wasn't as stringent as nowadays. If you write something, an RPG for us, it's got to be 100% in line with the Siege Engine. In those days, I was a little bit less stringent. So it isn't completely in line, but it easily plays over. And it's kind of a shadow world that you step into. Now, I gave Jim Ward, Jim is a game designer, long time, 50 years or whatever, 40 years. He's been doing it. He's super nice. He's brilliant at what he does. He's just very good game designer. So I gave him carte blanche. I didn't put any restrictions on it. So he immediately did something I would never do. When you play Tainted Lands, you start whatever you are in the world of Aird or Greyhawk or whatever world you're playing. You step into the Tainted Lands and you're starting over. You become something different. You've been corrupted, and now you've got to weave through this world of horror and nightmare. It begins at the Loblolly Inn, and it really is designed to challenge you as a player, because you've got to recreate yourself. You've got to recreate, whether you're first level or 10th, you've got to recreate what you're doing. You've now been corrupted. You've now changed. The monsters are very deadly. The scenarios are extremely deadly. It's Jim Ward, and he plays hardball when he's playing RPGs, and he doesn't pull punches. I shouldn't say... He'll tell you he never kills characters. Characters always get themselves killed. Because he doesn't pull any punches. I might pull a punch. Jim Ward doesn't pull a punch. So that philosophy is in the Tainted Lands. And it's this beautiful world on top of a world. So you can easily, it's sort of like an ethereal world. You can easily, it's the negative plane of energy, whatever you want to call it. You can easily integrate it to any game that you're running. And obviously the Siege Engine to any world that you're running. And really even game, because the Siege Engine is so easy to bleed over. Definitely check it out. I think we've only got it on sale for a PDF now. We are going to get it back into print, so it will definitely be back. What is the appropriate number of Dr. Peppers consumed during a normal gaming session per person? Well, depending on how long the session lasts. I probably in an 8-hour session will drink 3 to 4 Dr. Peppers. That's probably too many for my pancreas, so I try to break it up with some water, but not under 2. Not under 2. And if it's a 3-hour session, it's usually I usually will drink one and then wrap it up with one. So, so there's the rules on that. I've actually got 23 rules for Dr. Pepper around here somewhere. I need to post that. I haven't tried the cream soda variant yet. I haven't even seen it other than online. I've seen it at the store, but I just hadn't picked it up. Not in a box. Not with a box. There you go. Let's see. Oh, will you be streaming each day of the virtual Greyhawk Con? I'm not sure how that's playing out. Chuck and Tim manage that. I know that I'm doing GM's Tricks of the Trade on Friday, and I'm in a game on Saturday. But I don't know if that's going to stream on our site or if it's just on the virtual Greyhawk Con site. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out. That's a question for Tim and Chuck. And Chuck is meandering around the mountains of South or North Carolina, I think. So I'm not. We get sporadic information from Chuck. Tim has chimed in here. I believe it will be on both. So you should see it here and you should see it over there. Sorry, Dr. Pepper is nasty. I'm up here in Maine where we have Moxie just as gross. So, a good friend of mine, Jeffrey Talanian, he's from New Hampshire, I think. And he's up in your neck of the woods. And he's always trying to get me to drink Moxie. He keeps, I need to come up there. Of course, COVID knocked it all out. But he's come up for a convention and we'll get you drinking some Moxie. So I'm going to have to try it, Sidewinder. Dr. Pepper, it's an acquired taste. Not for me. I loved it from the first day I drank it. This is probably a sad statement. But I don't know what age I was. Would have been about 10. It would have been in the 70s. I went to my grandfather's store. He had an old grocery store there in Monticello, Arkansas. And when you walked in, it literally, I shit you not, it had the metal Coke signs on the outside, the whole thing, and a wooden porch as you walk through, and the creaking doors you walk in. The floor was all huge wooden planks all the way back to where he cut meat for people on the butcher block, which incidentally is in my kitchen. And he had a big Coke box, which Davis has the Coke box. So this would have been 77, 78, something like this. And I remember I always used to get an orange soda. Now, I don't remember if it was Orange Crush or what it was, but I used to always get an orange soda, and he was out. And I said, Paul, you're out of orange soda, what should I get? And he said, and just try one of those Dr. Peppers. So I got a 10-ounce bottle of Dr. Pepper, a glass bottle, of course, and cracked the top. I didn't know what it was, had never had it, never even heard of it, and didn't care, didn't really want it. He always used to let us get a tiny little bag of snacks, tiny little bitty grocery bag of candy and stuff. So I took the candy, and I was walking and I was eating candy. I was by myself. No one was with me. My brothers weren't with me. Nobody was with me. Walking up the street, and I actually took a picture of where I was. About 2 years ago, I was down in Monticello, and I took a picture because I remember it so well. On that sidewalk, I stopped. I was really thirsty. I wanted the orange soda. Looking at my candy, what's left of it. And I took a drink of that Dr. Pepper out of that bottle, and it was still cold. And oh my God, it was it was fantastic. I had just drinking the elixir of the gods, and I never turned back. I've drank Dr. Pepper since that day, and I continue to drink it to this day. I even last night, my daughter, the COVID stuff's got her college closed, so she was home, and we were watching the X-Files. I took a drink of Dr. Pepper. We were eating popcorn and watching the X-Files. I took a drink of Dr. Pepper and I paused the X-Files, and she said, what? Oh, no, I paused it and said, son of a bitch. And she said, what? And I go, damn, Dr. Pepper's good. So I still get the same pleasure out of it I got back in 1977 or 6 or whenever I first drank it. Good stuff. But it's all a matter of taste, Sidewinder. Maybe if you ever work your way down here to Arkansas, and I go to Maine frequently. Tim, our communications director, has property up there. He loves Maine. Lived there for 30 years. But when I get up there, I'll have a Moxie with you, and if you come down here, you can have a Dr. Pepper with you. Of course, you don't like Moxie either, so so none of it's going to work for you. So no Tricks of the Trade Thursday, move to Friday, or a bonus one on Friday. I'm like 90% certain I'm not going to mess up the week. We're doing Tricks of the Trade on Thursday, and we're doing Tricks of the Trade again on Friday. I'm pretty set on that. I got the time. Now that Gaxmore's moved on to the next stage of its life, I've got a little bit more wiggle room in what I can do. So we'll do the regular GM Tricks of the Trade Thursday at 4, and then we'll do another one Friday at 4. The one on Friday is 2 hours, I believe, or an hour and a half or something like that. Let's see. Thanks, just trying to coordinate. I know a lot will be streamed on Lord Gazumba's Twitch channel. Yeah, it'll all work out. Steve, like I say it'll work out, I have no idea. But, well, I have no idea. Steve, Anarchist, Chenault, yeah. Where's the Dr. Pepper sponsorship? We've tried. We actually reached out to them once. And they have, I haven't been on Twitter in forever, but I used to tweet, and I frequently tweet about Dr. Pepper. And they have retweeted a few of my tweets, which is always nice to do. But we reached out to do a sponsorship to get rid of the Mountain Dew. The Mountain Dew is not should not be the drink of choice for gamers. But they said they do not sponsor other companies. We're going to investigate that again. I have a feeling that they were just telling us to stop. Stop bugging them. Quit emailing us, you stupid bastards. That's my guess. But we're a little bit more suave now, so maybe we'll get through to them. I visualized all of that with the wavy lines and a reminiscing strum. Yeah, it's really weird too, because I remember when I was in Monticello, I think I was down there for a funeral. I don't know what I was down there for. I was born there, but I never lived there. My dad was in the Army, so we moved. But we always went back to Monticello to visit my grandparents. And they were always very low-key people, and the town is a beautiful town. It's very, very, stereotypical small American town, small southern town square, friendly people. Hell, I used to sit in my grandfather's truck while he delivered groceries to older people. It's just a cool town. I absolutely love Monticello. Probably have my bones laid there when I'm done, but it was weird when I took Rachel. She was with me. It's my daughter who watched the X-Files with me the other night. We were driving down that street, and I said, I wonder if I could remember where I had that first Dr. Pepper, and sure as hell, I see it in my head, and I could see it there. I had her take a picture of me, and I got it somewhere. It's pretty cool. Crazy stuff. Well, I think that's about it. I think I spent a good chunk of this talking about Dr. Pepper again, but I really need to get some kind of sponsorship from them. But we're here for Ask Me Anything. It's a great show. Sure appreciate you all showing up. Give us a follow if you can. We'll be back Thursday for GM's Tricks of the Trade, and then again Friday for GM Tricks of the Trade through the Greyhawk Convention. Check us out. We'll be here, and I think streaming over there as well. We'll be all over the place. You definitely don't hesitate to join us. We love it when you do. Love it, the give and take, and all of it. And we will see you Thursday and painting tomorrow at 7, I believe. And join us again next week for Asking Me Anything at 4 o'clock here on Troll Lord Twitch. Until then, you all have a great rest of your week and a good weekend coming up. Good hide Dr. Pepper cans in background of art. Dow Parkinson hid the TARDIS and Dragonlance art pieces. There you go. That's it, Bloodwild. You know, if you look in some of the Christmas cards, we've done like 14 of those now. And there's usually a Dr. Pepper can somewhere near me, so those are pretty cool. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Sidewinder, Grape, Ultra Magnus M5, Vindishi, everybody, Bloodwild, Commander Pete, everybody. Thanks for showing up. And we will see you again on Thursday. And tomorrow night for the miniature painting, though I won't be painting any miniatures because I suck. All right, so we will see you all later. Take it easy.